Successful people. How many times did you fail before you finally succeed? Sometime we plan something, go on to do it, and the results are completely disappointing. It's extremely demoralizing. How do you bounce back from that and go on to become successful? I think people sometimes misunderstand the truth that success only comes after day brings failures and successes. We try stuff and it fails. And we try stuff and it succeeds. All the time. We pivot and turn, launch and discontinue products or companies all the time. It's not all success or all failure. You get in the game and try and score goals. Even if you're behind on the scoresheet, the game is still in play. You fail small, you fail fast, and you fail often. It's called learning. That's business, friend, it's gonna happen. I think all successful people have failed at least once in their careers. The difference being that they never gave up and learned as much as they could from those failures. I don't think there's a number or quantum of failures that you need before you can be successful. It's extremely subjective and everyone has their own way to go. Maybe to succeed you only needed to learn a single concept, while I had to try and fail 10 times to have the skills to not fail on the 11th. Don't give up. I don't remember if it was Richard Branson, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. But in an old interview I saw, the reporter asked him, "What's the formula for success?" And he replied, very simple. Increase your rate of failure. Most of us don't hit a 3-point swisher on the first attempt. Gotta keep going until you do. 0. First business I started, I'm still running. It supports my family and I'm very happy with how we live. It's year 18. X200B. But like everyone said, this saying is dumb. It's not all out failure or success, it's an everyday thing. When I first started, I heard that 1 in 10 businesses succeeds. So a bit tongue-in-cheek I said I would start 10 companies. For me, it ended up being my 4th company that ended up hitting. Fail fast and fail often. I'll let you know when I stop failing and give you the count. I am still a successful failure. So I would also like to know the answer to this question: how many times? It can't be extremely demoralizing or else you just won't keep trying. Change your outlook on failing. It's an inevitable part of the process. I had 2 small business fail before launching and still running my successful side business. The gratification is in the journey, not the destination. Failure is a much needed thing to make sure you're on your toes. I think it's not uncommon for people to fail constantly. Even the big successfuls fail all the time. Bezos, Musk, they have fails all the time. Look at the failed rocket launches from Musk. Look at Bezos' personal failure. He lost a wife to money and business and ended up with a silicon doll. Failure is here to stay. Tree Fiddy. Well, very easy. Don't focus on what the crowd says but on what your heart says. So much pressure from outside will never help you. If you're keeping track of how many times you fail instead of how many times you have learned and grown, you will never succeed. I think I continue to fail daily, but in a more calculated way than the day prior. In order to improve, one must embrace the failure and learn from it. I tried and tried again for 15 years. And got an exit in 2022. It was a good exit. Not foo money, but good that I have stability in my life. One less time than giving up. I think it's less about how much you fail as it is about how much you learn from your failures. IMO. If you finally succeed, you haven't ever failed. Succeeded in what area? Family, spiritual, money, academic. I still fail. Pulling in 500k a year the last few years solo and still strike out on some things. You just keep plugging along and try to make sure your wins outweigh your misses. Hopefully by a lot. I think the right mindset to keep is that failure is a part of success. In the sense, there's no point when you're going to say, I'm finally successful now. You always have your goals. And you're always going to keep failing till you figure out how to get there. Edison failed 2,000 times before finding a proper filament for the light bulb. In his words, he did not fail 2,000 times but had succeeded 2,000 ways to not make the light bulb. I had about 6 different businesses before hitting real success. 2 were enough for me to make $40.60k a year before failing. The others never really took off. 3.5. I'm sure I can sit down and talk to you about the many times a failure occurred. I'm sure more would be remembered as the conversation went on. 2. I didn't specifically count them. It's great to have failures and learn from them. But dwelling on them will sink your ship. How do you bounce back? You just do it. What other option is there? Shake it off and get back to the grind. Some people are just made that way. Read the obstacle is the way. DM me after you read it. I fail all the time. This of how many dandelion seeds don't go to grow. How do you define success? I'm still failing but I keep going. IDK. I think it's mostly persistence but I'm not there yet. I know I will one day. Look closer Neo. There's no success. I'm still failing after 40 years. I will update this post when it happens. 50k times. I'm still counting. Have already failed at 7 different projects. Stating another one next month with all that I have learned so far. I'm currently going through a SaaS failure. Built my first SaaS, launched, and it is currently bombing. I have learned many skills and tough lessons along the way, but it still stings to fail. In 24 years I've failed 4 times. But every time I've learned something new and make my business last longer than the previous times. 0. Failure is a losing mindset. Every time I've done someone else would have called failure, I have at least learned something new which allowed me to go further. If you go into something worried about failing, you'll never do it. I failed 5 times before I got my success. I started at age of 15 and it was very hard to getting failed many times, but I never give up. Good thing is failure will teach you and success make you confident. You can fail 1,000 times, you only have to win 1. You just need to want it bad enough to enjoy the process and stay motivated. 19. Every day. Success comes from failure. The words of my old boss, who sold the company he started from his spare room for £10 million. Failure is non-linear. I've been fortunate enough to help found 2 successfully exited companies but still fail in future endeavors. Keep your ear to the ground and trust your gut. Update your wisdoms as you learn through success or failure. Keep the cycle moving. To be successful you have to grow, and to grow you need to meet resistance. There will be failures in everything. But it is more about how you handle them. Smile. After every rainfall must come a rainbow. Currently failed more than a dozen times. Learned it's me mostly, along with lack of cash.